Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRIENDS and Detroit LIONS fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the Detroit Lions this offseason, you know that the quarterback position has been front and center in everyone's minds. After a season where Jared Goff proved he's a legitimate franchise quarterback, leading the Lions to a playoff appearance and showing real growth, the team is still navigating the delicate waters of roster depth and future planning. The summer started with a lot of uncertainty and open competition for the number 2 quarterback spot, a battle that many fans and analysts alike have been watching very closely. And as it turns out, a clear frontrunner has emerged in veteran Kyle Allen, whose experience and steady play have edged out the competition. This development is significant because it could very well shape the Lions' strategy as they head towards the regular season. But more than just that, it raises some pressing questions about the team's roster construction and future plans, particularly regarding Hendon Hooker, the former Tennessee star and third-round pick. Now, Hooker arrived in Detroit with high hopes, a lot of promise, and the potential to be a key piece for the Lions' quarterback room for years to come. But folks, as training camp and preseason games have unfolded, it's becoming evident that things might not be working out exactly as planned. The story here is that Hendon Hooker has struggled in preseason action, and frankly, he's been outplayed by Kyle Allen, who, despite not having the same ceiling as Hooker, has been more consistent and reliable at this stage. That's not just a minor detail, it's a major sign for the Lions' front office and coaching staff, who now face a critical decision. Do they stick with the original plan, keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and hope that Hooker's talent eventually shines through? Or do they start considering other options, possibly trading him for assets that could help the team elsewhere? This is where things get interesting. An NFL analyst, Mike Payton from Auto Z Sports, recently weighed in on the situation and suggested that the Hendon Hooker experiment is not working out for the Detroit Lions. Payton pointed out that with preseason wrapping up and the regular season looming, it looks increasingly likely that Detroit might opt to part ways with Hooker, especially if they decide to carry just 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. The reasoning is straightforward. In the NFL, roster spots are precious, and if a player isn't producing or showing the necessary growth, teams tend to cut their losses early. But what's intriguing here is the potential for a trade. Payton mentioned that the Lions could look to move Hendon Hooker to another team that might need quarterback depth. Specifically, he pointed out the New Orleans Saints as a possible landing spot. The Saints, after Derek Carr's recent retirement, have a somewhat uncertain quarterback situation. Tyler Show is seen by many as the future, but it's clear that Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener have struggled to make a real impact during their limited playing time. Both of those players have shown inconsistencies and haven't established themselves as dependable options, which leaves the Saints in a bit of a quarterback limbo. So in that context, it makes sense that the Saints might be interested in a player like Hendon Hooker, who, despite his preseason struggles, has the talent and potential to develop into a viable option. It's worth noting that Hooker's injury history, combined with his age and the fact that he's coming off an ACL tear, could be a concern, but his upside is undeniable. The Lions might not see a future for him in their plans, especially with Kyle Allen's steady presence, and could be open to trading him for a piece that fills a more immediate need. And here's the interesting part. Payton suggested that Detroit could propose a straightforward trade, sending Hendon Hooker in exchange for Christian Boyd, a defensive tackle. Boyd has been on Detroit's radar for some time. He even visited the Lions before the 2024 NFL Draft. The Lions' interior defensive line has been somewhat depleted recently, with Alan McNeil, Mekhi Wingo, and Levi Onwuzurike expected to miss significant time due to injuries. Boyd, who was drafted in the 6th round last year by the Saints, hasn't found a consistent role in New Orleans, after the team added Davon Godchaux and rookies like Omri Thomas to their defensive line. In Detroit, however, Boyd might have a better shot to make the rotation and contribute throughout the season. It's a strategic move that makes sense given the Lions' current needs on defense and the fact that Boyd isn't a guaranteed starter in New Orleans. The Lions could see him as a valuable depth piece, someone who can step in and help stabilize the interior. It's a classic example of how NFL trades often revolve around team needs and future potential, rather than just immediate impact. But of course, it's not just about the trade itself. The bigger picture here is how the Lions are approaching this quarterback situation. They've shown faith in Kyle Allen, who has been a reliable veteran presence, especially after the team brought in Teddy Bridgewater late last season. Bridgewater's experience and leadership were valuable, even if he wasn't a long-term solution. Meanwhile, Hendon Hooker was essentially demoted to the third-string role, and his opportunities to showcase his talent have been limited. This was especially evident during the divisional round playoff game last season, when Goff went down with an injury, and Bridgewater was called upon to step in. All of this points to the Lions being in a position where they might be weighing their options carefully. Do they want to keep 3 quarterbacks, risking roster flexibility and cap space? Or do they prefer to streamline their roster, focus on the core, especially Goff and Allen, and look for other avenues to bolster their team on defense or special teams? It's a delicate dance, and it's clear that Detroit's front office is considering all angles. Now, what does this mean for the Lions' overall outlook? Well, it's an exciting time because Detroit has been building something special. The team's offense has shown so much promise with Goff at the helm, and the defense has been steadily improving. The addition of young players like Mekhi Wingo and Levi Onwuzurike, along with veteran leadership, has created a balanced squad that's hungry for success. But the quarterback position remains a key piece in that puzzle. If the Lions decide to trade Hooker for a defensive lineman like Christian Boyd, it shows they're prioritizing immediate depth and team chemistry over future potential in that specific role. And let's not forget, Detroit's coaching staff and front office have been very strategic in their approach. They've been patient with Hooker, giving him time to recover from his injury and adapt to the NFL. But now the reality is setting in that roster spots are limited, and every move has to be calculated to maximize their chances of contending for a deep playoff run, and ultimately, a Super Bowl appearance. The NFC North is fiercely competitive, with teams like the Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers always lurking, so Detroit needs to be sharp and decisive. Looking ahead, the Lions' training camp will be a pivotal phase. The coaching staff will be closely monitoring each quarterback's progress, not just in preseason games, but in practice reps and meetings. The decision on whether to keep Hooker as a third quarterback or to move him via trade hinges on many factors: health, development, team chemistry, and potential trade value. If they do move him, it could open up a spot for another player or give them the flexibility to sign someone else who might fit their system better. And of course, fans are eager to see how this all unfolds. The anticipation of the regular season, the hope of another playoff push, and the quest for that elusive Super Bowl title are what drive the passion of Detroit Lions supporters. Every roster move, every preseason game, and every practice session adds a new layer to this story. And it's no secret that the Lions have been one of the most exciting teams in the NFL these past few seasons, showing resilience, talent, and a real hunger for greatness. This quarterback situation, while it might seem like just a side story, actually reflects the larger narrative of this team's evolution. They're at a crossroads, balancing the present with an eye toward the future, trying to maximize every roster spot, and aiming to build a squad capable of competing at the highest level. The decisions they make now will echo throughout the season, shaping their trajectory and possibly defining their chances at reaching the Super Bowl once again. So, Lions fans, keep your eyes on this story. It's not just about Hendon Hooker or Christian Boyd. It's about the bigger picture, the team's strategy, and the relentless pursuit of glory. Whether they keep Hooker or trade him, every move is driven by the desire to see Detroit succeed, to see that iconic Lion roar louder than ever in the NFL's biggest stage. And I know you're just as passionate about this as I am, so stay tuned, because more updates are coming, and the season is just around the corner. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending, the latest Detroit Lions news to you. It's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Lions should hold on to Hooker and see if he develops? Or do you believe a trade for Christian Boyd makes more sense right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for all the latest Detroit Lions news. This team is on the rise, and it's an incredible time to be a Lions fan. Keep the faith, keep the passion, and let's get ready for an exciting season ahead.